in an underground car park, a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Motorcycle headlights cast an eerie light on an electrifying performance. If anything speaks to the energy and the exuberance of China, this is it. In China's south, 2,200 kilometres from Beijing, in a province called Guangdong, is a city called Guangzhou. It's known for its research and development. It boasts 21 universities and more restaurants than any other Chinese city. Once the historic starting point for the old Silk Road, to this day it remains a major hub. Planes, trains, and especially by night, boats. This city, the sister city to Sydney, has the oldest relationship of any Chinese city to Australia. Its population is almost as big as Australia's, and its gross domestic product is also almost as big as Australia's. A rate of growth and development that would have been unthinkable just a few short decades ago. It is simply magnificent. Rated by Forbes as China's best commercial city, it is the place to sell into China. Don't take my word for it. Just ask the world's major car makers. The recent Guangzhou Motor Show saw cars from all corners of the globe, including a staggering array of homegrown vehicles. The crowds were huge, the excitement palpable. There's motor shows and there are motor shows. This place is staggering. This car is worth 250,000 Australian dollars. This is China driving into the future with a plan to become the biggest supplier of EVs to the world. And there's no shortage of customers. The next morning, on a rainy day, in transportation a little less modern and a lot less comfortable, we set off again, heading to another city in Guangdong province. Normally this trip would take a couple of hours, but we took a couple of detours. We were in no rush. There was too much to see. To get the big picture in this big country, you got to travel some big distances to see some big structures like this very big bridge. "22 kilometres long, plus another 7 kilometres of tunnels." I've got to find another word other than staggering, but truly, this is impressive. What was once a 2-hour journey has been cut down to 30 minutes. And at the end of the line, Shenzhen. Shenzhen, probably one of China's most colourful cities. Sister city to Brisbane, a sleepy fishing village that became a pulsating metropolis. China's answer to Silicon Valley. To give you a sense of where we are, just across the water from Shenzhen is Hong Kong. They're fire and ice, friends and rivals. Historic Hong Kong, old and established. Brash young Shenzhen, the upstart up-and-comer. Yet, not so long ago, there was simply no competition between them. Back then, Hong Kong was King Kong to sleepy Shenzhen.
You know, Shenzhen was a little border town with some fishermen and agriculture.
I've come to meet two people in very different fields, but who both share something unique. They are both eyewitnesses to perhaps the fastest growth of any city in history. Professor Whitman Hung is known as Mr. IT. He first came here in 1979.
At that time, on the train, all I saw were farmland.
And Christina Zhong, who, for want of a better description, is queen of the drones, she came here as a toddler.
I came here when I was an infant. My parents brought me here.
Oh,
and I
so
grew up in
you've
Shenzhen.
seen it grow?
Yes.
What was it like before? What was it like in the beginning?
I have some old photos at my home when I was an infant. I sit on the car, and then the background of the car is a fish village.
More from Christina later. But first, Professor Hung was my rooftop guide to the rapid changes. So if I'm correct, all of what I'm seeing here wasn't there.
Wasn't there 15 years ago.
Wow.
Yep. It was really like a really remote little town. I was
What was
told,
the population?
Yeah, the population was about 50,000.
What is it now?
It's 20 million.
Sorry. In 20 years, the city has gone from this to this.
That is what they call Shenzhen speed, really. When they make a decision, they work on it. They built that whole block within 1 year.
I've got friends back in Australia who are still waiting for their house to be built after 3 years.
Well, we are a developing country, so we have to develop.
What's the lesson here?
Number one, I think, is they have some preferential policies. They open this place for banks, fund management, as well as encouraging young people to, be innovate and startups. So I think the main lesson is be open.
In China, Professor Hung is known as a man of letters. Not surprisingly, given he has 42 of them after his name. Among many other jobs, he is Executive Chairman of the Chinese Big Data Society, Honorary President of the Internet Professional Association, and a self-confessed geek, investor, entrepreneur, politician, forward thinker, and a startup genius. Little wonder, in China, he is also known as a man of
Action.
Professor, thanks so much for joining us. We've really wanted to talk to you. In fact, the Romans had a saying, carpe diem. Seems like that's your life motto.
Well, I never thought it's going to be that way. I just follow my interests. If you asked me 20 years ago that I would be a politician, I wouldn't believe you. If you asked me 10 years ago that I would be an investor, I wouldn't believe you. I thought I would be retired by now. But life is full of, new things. I have to say, during my younger days, we had a lot of crazy ideas. Some of these never really crystallized.
Yeah.
But it's still the thinking process and also the experience of failure, make me who I am now.
How important is failure to success?
Very important.
In what way?
I think failure is a necessity in a learning path. If you never failed, I've seen some people who kind of move on very smoothly, and then the first major failure, they collapse.
It beats them.
They couldn't take it.
Yeah.
I think that, as I said, learning by failing is very important. Also, in my business, which is, I now do one of the major businesses incubating startups.
Yeah.
Startups failed most of the time, okay? But what we have, this is actually Silicon Valley phrase. It says, fail fast, fail forward.
It's a great saying.
If you are going to fail, please fail fast. Don't wait 5 years and then you fail.
And then try again.
Yeah, and then try again. So you do a startup in a year, you decide, this is not the right way. I did some wrong calculation, I was not sure about the market. Stop it. Do something else. Change your business model. So as I said, fail, but fail forward and fail fast.
Is it your plan, your hope, your desire that Shenzhen becomes the Silicon Valley of China?
It is already. So really, this city always welcome new blood.
Is that true today? So if I
It is.
am an Australian or Australian business wanting to come here to do a start,
easy.
Very easy?
Very easy.
What would you say to Australians wanting to do that?
Well, come and have a look first.
Yeah.
Shenzhen is obviously, it's a modern city. It doesn't have the kind of beautiful coastlines you have in Australia and kind of a leisure life, but it's a very high speed. It's very intense. And it's very young as well. The average age of Shenzhen people is something like 20, something less than 30. So it's really a very young city because every year, from all across China, all those graduates, they want to take a look, see if they can find a job here and then stay here.
One of the best ways to see Shenzhen is from the air, by drone of course, which, as you'll learn, is a subject close to our next guest's heart.
I think the reason why I joined this company is I think I see the world from different angle. Like before, you only see from the ground. You see the world in a 2D dimension. Yeah. But if you fly in the sky, you see in a 3D dimension. You see the entire world. You see how beautiful the world is, how beautiful the coastal line, the forest, everything. You see it in a more clear way. Right. I think this made me feel I love the world and also I love the product. And I hope the product can help our end users to think their daily work can be much easier, much reliable, and much safer.
Christina Zhong is Senior Strategy Director at DJI, the company leading the world in drone manufacturing and aerial photography. This is a drone's eye view of their Shenzhen headquarters. Don't be fooled by the minimalist look. This company is getting maximum returns. In fact, you could argue it is China's biggest business success story. From takeoff just a few short years ago, DJI now controls 90% of the world market. But don't let me drone on. Have a look yourself. Innovation has not only taken DJI to the top of their business, but to the top of the world. What's higher than the Himalayas? A DJI drone taking these breathtaking pictures.
What was it like to see that footage?
I think the world is just amazing, and you never see that footage before.
Why are people so interested in drones? Why is it becoming such a big deal?
I think in the beginning, the consumer used the drone as their hobby, feeling that they want to see from above the sky because you can see the whole picture, you can see the full picture. Yeah. But before, you can only take the airplane or you can use the helicopter to take that footage. It's quite expensive, it's very difficult. Not many people can have that luxury to do that.
Well, I've got to say, on this trip, the stuff that we've filmed on our drone, which will now run over this question and your answer, is absolutely off the charts beautiful. It really has changed the way you look at the world.
Yeah,
what's the big picture for drones?
I think nowadays drone become the flying robot, so it's being applied to different industry. But back to 10 years ago, people may not be really understand what drone is, or drone is quite far from their daily life. But nowadays, you see almost drones everywhere.
Do you see Australian customers? How big is it for Australia?
We see so many Australian applications, but we see a lot of local applications in Australia.
For example,
mining industry is quite important for Australia. So we have a lot of mining customers. They're using DJI drone plus DJI Dock, been doing the inspection of the mining site and also doing the site monitoring for the site. It can do 7 to 24 hours non-stop missions. Because the drone can take off itself and landing itself and doing the monitoring. And also in the mountain fires, we see a lot of application that the drone being helped to search missing people and also to searching the koala. The thermal camera with the drone helping to search the koala in the area, and all the firemen, they help to take the koala out from the area. Yeah. Like before, the firemen, if they want to put down the fire, they have to go there and watching the fire and then see which are the area that they can enter into. But right now, if there's any fire, the drone take off first, even before the firemen go to the site, and then the drone can send back the footage to the fireman's like iPad or iPhone, and then they can see on their screen
and know where they have to go, know where they have to fight the fire,
and where is the safe area that they can enter into.
It seems extraordinary because a few short years ago, none of this existed.
Yes, it's really game-changing for us.
And when you say it's game-changing, one of the things we've been looking at here in Shenzhen is just how game-changing the idea of creativity and innovation is. How much has this city been a help to the development of this company?
I think Shenzhen is quite young city, as you may heard from other people. It's very young, like 40 or 50 years old. A lot of people from China, they visit this city, they stay in this city and try to build this city. So this city become I would say, an international city nowadays. And a lot of tech company actually grow up in Shenzhen, DJI as well. Like when DJI first into Shenzhen is back to 2006.
Yeah.
And at that time, it's only I think we choose Shenzhen because Shenzhen has a very mature supply chain.
We have a very good supply chain. We talk about a company, DJI. The founder was a master graduate from Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. He did try to start up in Hong Kong and failed. And then he moved to Shenzhen, and then he was successful. And one of the reasons he said is, because in Shenzhen, I got all the parts I need within a 2 kilometers area. I have all the suppliers, and they're willing to try new things with me. And that is very important. That's why they call it the maker's paradise. I mean, and I have friends who are in Silicon Valley who came here for prototypes. Because you may have an invention, you may have some new things, but then try to make it into a workable prototype. In America, it takes a long time, but here you can do it in 2 weeks.
I'm going to pick you up on some words you just mentioned. Willing to try new things. Is that what it's all about?
It is very important. Shenzhen also make a lot of mistakes while it was developing. But they move on. They learn their mistakes, they pay the price, but then they move on and they keep on trying new things.
I mean, that's why you're investing in startups.
Yes.
You've got people who haven't necessarily had the creativity beaten out of them.
Right.
They're willing to do stuff. Is that what you're after?
Yes, this is what I'm after, and this is why I do it in Shenzhen.
Why do you think so many people come here to try their hand at growing a business or being creative or innovating?
I think Shenzhen is quite open city. So basically everyone come here, you can build your idea, you can have the talents, you can build from the scratch, like the city grows. So I would say that's the amazing part of Shenzhen, without limitation, without boundary.
If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Yes.
For DJI, business is booming and profits, like their drones, soaring. And with the addition of AI, drone technology is only going to accelerate. But then, AI is changing everything.
How is AI going to change Shenzhen?
Well, it's changing the world, number one. I think right now...
For good?
Hopefully. There's some...
Why do you hesitate?
Well, there's some ethical issues. Yeah. There are also... our old rules and regulations may not be appropriate for the AI world. The kind of working relationship, for example, the kind of education, we may have to change a lot of the institutional design.
In the way we teach children?
In the way we teach children, in the way we engage our workforce.
Give me an example.
Traditionally, there are people in offices who write reports. That's the only thing they do. But then, now it can be done by AI in seconds. So these guys kind of lose the meaning of life. Yes, you can still pay them, but you need to give them something else to.
What's the alternative then? What will it be?
Creativity, also education. I think education is one of these things that has not been reformed for a very long time.
Is it your hope to make a difference there?
Yeah, that's
what do you want to do?
I want to create an environment that education is mainly focusing, cultivating certain essential skills for the kids. These skills include creativity, collaboration, communication with people, communication with machine, and then finally problem solving. So these are essential skills.
These are the 5 principles.
For the future, the workforce, or even being a human being, trying to communicate.
How are you going to do it? You're going to build your own school?
That's the plan. I'm trying to build a new high school. I mean, current form education evolved after the Industrial Revolution. High division of labor. So we need to train people specialized in a certain kind of skill. And then we kind of turn them all into a uniform, standard skill labor force.
Yeah.
But uniform skilled labor force can be replaced by robots. What we need is individuals who are creative, who are able to solve problems, because robots can't solve problems.
So how do you do that in a system, an education system, that some would say traditionally has beaten the creativity out of kids?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Ask questions instead of giving answers. Empower them to fulfill their curiosity.
What's your view about knowledge? Is it relevant?
Knowledge is no longer relevant, because today you have any knowledge you want on your fingertip.
You can get it on your iPhone or whatever.
So what's the point of memorizing some of this knowledge that you will never use it the rest of your life, except in exams, right? If you want, you can just ask your AI and then you tell you immediately.
This is some big thinking. You're saying that the way we've taught has to be thrown out the window, basically.
It needs to be, because whatever skill they get can be replaced by robots. But then they lack the skills of, for example, commanding the robots, the identification problem, the definition problem.
Yeah.
Needs to be done by human. Creativity is the same thing. Creativity, everybody is creative when they were born.
Yeah.
Look at some of these toddlers. They do strange things you never imagine somebody would want to do. So do not limit their creativity, number one. Tell them there's more than one answer to one question. If everybody is uniformed, like an army, you don't have creativity. Okay, the same with institutions. So let them think out of the box by showing them what is outside the boxes. I think that is very important.
It means a complete overhaul of education. I think you've said to me previously that, creativity starts to die at, say, about 7 or 8.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah, because, kids are creative, but then once they get into school, they were taught there's only one way to one answer. You have to do it exactly in that way.
And that knocks a little bit of the edge of the creativity off.
Yes. And the next job is when at age about 20, 22, is when you start to work for people. You went into the workforce, and then you are told this is the way things are done.
Another one gone.
And then you kind of came back up when they're about 55, because you're about to retire, or maybe you've already retired. You can start to think you are not bounded by all these rules and regulations.
Wow.
Rules and regulation, it's good for the human society, but at the same time, it's what limits creativity. So we need to have a balance. We need to cope with the change. How do we give them meaning of life and a respectable living? We need to do a lot of those things.
Meaning of life.
Yeah,
give them meaning and purpose. Give everyone.
Give everyone. Some people may say, "Oh, my meaning in life is just having a beer and then play video games." That's okay. That's also okay. But I think AI and technology are going to free a lot of this repetitive work. When we back to history, there's certain gentlemen decided to find out why I'm here. Yeah. Why is the sun rising in the morning? And that's where science, arts, and philosophy were developed.
And is that what you're seeing here, that AI will become the slaves?
Exactly.
And then the rest of us will be free?
We will be free, but then you need to change the current institutions, because otherwise, there was a known research in America that technology advancement will increase the economic divide. Even though we keep saying, technology is going to replace these jobs, but they're also going to create these jobs. That is true, but there are certain people who are not skilled enough to do the new jobs.
So how do you do that? Is that what keeps you awake?
That's why it does, but that's why we need, I think to a certain extent, a socialist system like China, where the government will take care of those people. Okay, so at least if you're sick, there's free medical for you. Your kids can go to school. You don't have to pay a very high tuition fee that you cannot afford. You know that even though you don't have a job, you still have shelter and food.
Right.
I mean, these are basic things for human. But
it can go across different systems, though. So
long
as you have a safety net, is what you're saying.
A social safety net. No, it's not. It's a little bit more than safety net. You should make it comfortable.
Right.
But that could not be done in the past because we don't have enough productivity. But AI is going to change that. So when the productivity becomes so high, so you only have to work, say, 20 hours instead of 40 hours. You're still producing the same kind of thing you're producing with the help of technology. Then you can afford, having a leisure, go fishing, whatever. So I think that is technology used in the right way. Unfortunately, even today, technology are in the hands of a handful of people. And these people will become super, super rich. I have no problem them being super rich. I have a problem is if they become super rich, but then they're jobless people on the street.
Yeah.
That will be a problem.
Is it your fear then that if the gap between haves and have-nots increases because of AI and monopoly ownership of it, that has the potential for social unrest in countries?
Yes.
That's what you're worried
It's
about?
not potential. It would definitely happen. It
Right.
depends on when.
Huh.
The only
You have
uncertainty
no
is
doubts
when.
about that.
I have no doubts about that. We have seen that in history, and when people find there is no meaning of life, they don't treasure their life anymore.
So that's the big question. That's one of the big problems awaiting the world. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I think we need to make sure that technology advancement benefits every human being.
Change can be divisive. For some, it creates apprehension. For others, it's about opportunity. Professor Hung's view is that if you can grasp it, then the sky's the limit, be it in Shenzhen or right across the massive 110 million strong market that is China's Greater Bay.
Well, what would you say to Australians or about the opportunity here?
Yeah, I think
is there a place for us?
Definitely. There's a lot. This is a high-speed growing country, and Shenzhen is a high-speed growing city. There's always different kind of opportunity. You don't even have to be on tech. Come here and start your Australian cuisine. I'm sure there's a huge market for it. It's difficult for people to walk out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, this is threatening. You come here and you look at the competitive nature of the place and you go, wow, can I do that?
Yeah, that is...
A bit confronting.
It's a bit confronting, also especially when you already have a reasonable good life in Australia. The food's cheap, environment's good, and you come here, this is already very high speed, intense. Experience the difference. It doesn't have to be Shenzhen. Look around. The Greater Bay Area, we have 9 cities in the Guangdong province and 2 cities in Hong Kong and Macau. They are different things. Each city has its own differences.
It doesn't matter where you go, it matters that you come. Who knows, you might even have a helping hand from the good professor.
Does that keep you young, having that flow of new information,
Yes.
new creativity, new blood?
Exactly. Because it has problems as well, because we don't have enough land to build houses, and
Yeah.
the houses prices were so high. They come here and say, no, just too expensive living. Then they move to Dongguan, which is just next city.
Do they come here to see you? Because here, colloquially, you're known as Mr. IT.
Yeah, well, no, I wouldn't say that, but
Some do, though.
I was in the IT industry for more than 30 years.
Yeah.
But the good thing is I've been involved with a lot of young entrepreneurs, startups. I teach them, I coach them. I also help them to find fundings and pick up a phone and call a customer for them. I like doing those things.
Why?
Helping people to success is, there's a lot of sense of achievement.
Yeah.
Which is why he called his startup business Zebras. It may seem an unusual name, but it makes unusually good sense once you hear the reason why.
Zebras versus unicorns. When in tech, everybody say, we're on unicorn, right? Zebras are different. They are both black and white. They're both new and old. They look for economic return, but also social benefits. They come in herds, they help each other, and they're sustainable. Whereas the unicorns, if you look at the old Western mythical story, when there's a unicorn, there are no other animals because they don't live with the other animals. Our problem is we have so many of these unicorns who has very little employment. And it creates a lot of riches for certain people, but they do not benefit the others enough. There's some benefits, but not enough. So what I was saying is, let's create more zebras. And zebras help each other. It's a herd. It's a herd, right? Human race is also a herd. We should not build our success on the failure of the others.
I wish you, as Chief Zebra,
thank
the
you.
very best of luck, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Bye. See you later.